My name is Daniel Blumberg, and I'm an educational doctoral degree candidate at the University of Dayton. Today, I'm going to talk to you about my cross-case study with organizational analysis for my EDU921 organizational theory class. So, what is a CCSOA? CCSOA is an analysis of a group of cases where themes are developed and explored that unite them. This is done to allow for further insights into a specific case. My original case was on the Business Improvement Grants Program administered by the Gainesville Community Reinvestment Area, Department of the City of Gainesville, located in Gainesville, Florida. To allow for more insights into this case, I reviewed a case from Tampa involving Arsenal Academy, adding a high school to its existing elementary and middle schools. A case that reviewed what happened in Lorain, Ohio, when the state took over the local school district due to its repeated educational outcome failures and the interactions that the new CEO that was put in place had with the teachers as well as administration and the school board. And a final case that examined a school system that had teachers assigning students to special education inappropriately, in that they were assigning difficult students to get them out of the teachers' classes so they weren't the teachers' problems anymore, not necessarily students that had actual learning handicaps. And this, unfortunately, when that occurs, it is injurious to both the students and to the special education teacher. So that was also a very interesting case as part of the cross-case study analysis that I performed. So the goal is to identify additional solutions. So my first theoretical question is, through a modern perspective with organizational culture changing constantly, what strategies can street-level bureaucrats, or SLBs, enact to manage the changes that occur? The applied question is, with the GCRA as an organization navigating its environment, one of its chief sources of funds and competitors being Alachua County, what can the GCRA do to continue cooperation with Alachua County beyond 2028 to continue alleviating slum and blight? So the analysis of the theoretical question is necessary because the SLB may remain the only constant in an organization with changing leadership. The second question is an applied question that is relevant because the agreement between the City of Gainesville and Alachua County that formed the GCRA expires in 2028. There has been a lot of organizational change with the GCRA. In 2019, it changed from being an agency called out in state statute to being a city department. So that was a major change that took place in this organization, and there will be potentially another major change in 2028 if the organization no longer were to be continued. So there were revealed themes that were seen when all of these cases were looked at. The three overarching themes that were identified are going to be financial. From a modern perspective, everything can be tied down to a causal relationship. The quantitative and scientific methods are necessary to identify the cause and effect in these relationships. In 4 of the 5 cases examined, finite resources have either or will lead to resource allocation decisions. The second theme was street-level bureaucratic engagement and implementation of policy. In regards to the SLB engagement and implementation of policy, SLBs have a number of engagement and implementation choices. They can follow management directives unquestioningly or question the directions while following them. They can perform contrary implementation to what was intended while still following the guidelines, if not the intentions of the directives, or they can also choose to try to ignore the orders. The third theme that was revealed were precursor socioeconomic issues, and those will continue to plague an area until they are resolved. Resolving long-term issues requires studies to determine the root cause and then addressing each issue. The key to being able to resolve the problems is to achieve buy-in from the stakeholders involved and work to effect change. The changes being implemented will cause organizational cultural change and will need the buy-in from not just management but the SLBs to make it happen. So, over the course of this cross-case study organizational analysis, I worked to identify 3 alternate solutions. And the alternate solutions are viewed through 3 lenses. One is the modern lens, one is the symbolic lens, and one is the postmodern lens. The first, under the modern lens, was structural contingency theory, which argues that organizations must be adaptable to their environment. The GCRA is no exception and will have to adapt to events post-2028 or end. The second theory looked at was under the symbolic lens and is neo-institutional theory. And that states organizations must have the acceptance of the society in which they operate. This ties directly into the GCRA or any organization being able to be successful. The third lens was the postmodern lens, and this was under the anti-narrative. This lens was the most challenging and interesting in that it involves a retelling of what came before to shape a new possible future. Through this lens, the GCRA works with community members in Alachua County to address socioeconomic issues that have affected the community. So, in reflection, while challenging to perform due to the seemingly vast differences between the cases, this exercise was fruitful in revealing high-level, overarching similarities. The postmodern analysis was the most challenging section to decide how and what to write about. Accepting the challenge and writing about it in this manner assisted in the understanding of how truths are defined by what people believe and not necessarily what is factual. One can hope that one day we return from the post-truth world into one where the actual truth exists and is respected. So I would like to thank you for watching my presentation. I can be reached at my email address, blumbergd1@udayton.edu. And if anyone is curious to see more about the university or the programs, I have the website udayton.edu here as well for you. Thank you.